What's goody? It's your host Jay Rose as always, and there's a couple players in this upcoming NBA season that I believe should be taking pretty big leaps. If you have your own players that you think should be making breakout seasons in this next season, put that down in the comment section down below and let's get into it. Over 90% of the people that watch my content are not subscribed, so if you're messing with the videos, please hit that sub button and the noti bell so you'll get notified every time I upload. But let's get back to the hoops. The first player on my list is Jalen Green, and I've spoken about Jalen Green a couple of times, I believe, throughout this summer, and I think Jalen Green, honestly, he's just been the same for 3 years. I don't think he's made any big strides or progressions as a player. His efficiency has stayed around the 31-32% range, which is not good. His three-point percentage is also not good. So I think he just needs to become a more efficient scorer, because that's really what he's holding his hat on, is his scoring. So being that inefficient and being a scorer in the NBA, especially in today's NBA, that's really just not going to cut it, especially at his stature. He showed off a lot in the ending of last season. He went on a crazy run, 30 ball after 30 ball after 30 ball, and that's concerning only because when you look at his season stats, including that last portion of the season where he was going crazy, his statistics look mundane and they're inefficient. So yeah, I had Jalen Green on my top 10 shooting guards, but he's 10. You can argue me even lower. And honestly, I'm just expecting a lot from him. I was expecting a lot from him coming out of high school. Now that he's in the league, and he's shown me that he has the potential to really be this eccentric scorer and just this piece that can be really important to a team. I need him to come out and show that. I think his feel for the game absolutely got a lot better last year, but I need to see that on the court, and I need that to be a product on a night-to-night basis. I don't need us to come back next season and be like, oh, midway through the season, Jalen Green was going crazy and he fell off. Or same thing with this year, Jalen Green was having a pretty regular Jalen Green season, and then he had a crazy run to end off the year. The Rockets were good last year. The Rockets were genuinely good and fighting for a play-in spot last year. I think if Jalen Green can really reel himself in and make himself more efficient, even if the numbers don't necessarily go up in terms of scoring, even if he's still at the 19, 20, 21 point per game range, but he can get up to 40% from the field, raise that three-point percentage a little bit, that's the kind of stride that I want to see from Jalen Green this year. Next up, we have a pretty obvious one. I think everyone's expecting this, but Victor Wembanyama. He already played great last year. I think he just needs to play more. They didn't really play him a whole ton of minutes, which I understand. That was a team that honestly wasn't going anywhere. And when you see you have a prospect that's that just head and shoulders over most of the competition, including with injuries, he was getting hurt every couple of games last year. So yeah, we're not going to play him as many minutes as he probably should play. This year, I think you got to let him ball out. He's evened out his body a little bit more. You added a Chris Paul, you added a H. Barnes. You gotta let Wemby play this year and see what this team can do. I think Wemby has the potential to be a top 10 player in his second year in the NBA. So if you just let him ball out, let him hoop and see what comes of it, I truly believe that he can be a guy that can average around 25, 26 points, get you 10, 12 boards, and still be one of the top defenders in the NBA. And you can't really tell me that that's not a top 10 player at that point. I think Wemby's, honestly, I don't know if I was believing the hype at first. Now that I've seen Wemby in action, I've seen what he can do. Even in the Olympics, I've seen his game expand just that much more. I think Wemby can be a real issue even in just year 2, which I think is very scary for the league. But hey, we're going to see what comes of that next season. Next up, I have Paolo Banchero. Man, he just showed a lot in the playoffs. His numbers took a jump, and he was very, very clutch. Even when nobody else on his team could get you a bucket, Franz Wagner was cold. All the guards were cold. Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs. They couldn't really get anything going. And you had Paolo there. And Paolo was just like, I got us, bro. Getting 40 balls, 30 balls. Paolo was going crazy, dog. And he made that series just so much harder for the Cleveland Cavaliers to get out of. I don't think that if Paolo plays worse than what he did, that series is even competitive. So shout out to Paolo, because I honestly did not think the Magic had a shot. And when he came out, upped his play, and really put the team on his back, it made them look a lot better than I initially thought they were. And I do believe in the Magic just that much more because of the performance that Paolo put on in that playoff series. And I think that he can really sustain that for a season. I don't think that was just a one-off thing. I think Paolo really found his stride, found his confidence. Obviously, that's only against one team, and every team is going to have their different matchups against you. But what I saw Paolo pulling out his bag, some of that stuff is just You can't guard that. You can't guard that. He's going to get his shots off. He's really strong. He's really athletic. He's a very decent playmaker. I think Paolo this upcoming season can be a real threat. And they added KCP. That's another weapon that they need. I do think that this Magic team needs a scoring / playmaking point guard. I think their point guards are cool as role players, but they really do need a really nice point guard to reel things in. Maybe an Anthony Simons would be cool, but yeah, they just need that one more piece, and I think that they're like right there from being real issues in the playoffs. Hopefully Franz can get his jump shot up, but man, Paolo, and to be honest, he already came in the league all-star caliber. When you come into the league all-star caliber, I feel like the sky is the limit for you. And Paolo it's really a weird situation because he came in that good and he did not get the recognition, and I feel like he's still not getting the recognition. So I believe Paolo is going to have a really big jump this year. The team is starting to form their identity. He's starting to form his identity. And I just feel like he's going to really put himself and the Magic on the map this next season. My final player that I believe is going to take a jump this season is Scoot Henderson. Oh my God, I was so high on Scoot Henderson, bro. I was so high on Scoot Henderson that I said the Hornets should consider taking him at number 2 in front of Brandon Miller. And when they drafted Brandon Miller, I said it makes sense from a team building standpoint, but I would have drafted Scoot still. In hindsight, that is a crazy take. That is a crazy take. Scoot Henderson last year was Killian Hayes with bunnies. Literally, Killian Hayes with some athleticism is what Scoot Henderson showed last season. I specifically remember a time where I won money on a parlay betting the under on Scoot Henderson assists, and I think it was like 3 assists or 4 assists, bro. Scoot Henderson did not really show his ass last year. I know that there's a log jam at that guard position, but they still were favoring him at portions of the season. I think he needs to really come out and show what he can do. Having a good performance against Wemby in the G League is not enough. I don't really want Scoot Henderson to just get chalked up and end up becoming like a worse version of Dennis Smith Jr. So I really hope that he can put it together and really find his stride. The Portland Trail Blazers are not doing anything right now. They're not competing for anything. I don't think they want to win. I think they're actually trying to see how they can move some of their pieces like a Jeremy Grant and an Anthony Simons so they can fully move into their rebuild, get rid of some of those other names, some of the better names and some of the older names on that team, even though Anthony Simons isn't that old. But yeah, I'm expecting Scoot to take a jump. It doesn't have to be an all-star jump, but I'm definitely expecting a jump because last season it just wasn't a great performance. I was not impressed, and I don't think for somebody who I thought had the potential to win Rookie of the Year, he did not come close. Obviously, Wemby and Chet, Derek Lively, Brandon Miller, both of the Thompson twins, it just wasn't great for Scoot. There were so many names that I could list off that were just better than him in his own rookie class. So I'm just hoping he can come in and really find his stride in the NBA. It is tough for smaller athletic guards sometimes to really get in that groove. The point guard is one of the hardest positions to play. So I'm just going to hope he can really get it together next season and start building something for himself. Those are not all the players that I think want to take a jump, but just a couple. If you want a part 2, let me know by leaving a like and comment some players that you think should take a jump next season as well. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.